Good morning, children. Today we are going to discuss lesson 4 in the kingdom of fools from your supplementary reader. You know the kingdom, that is a state. The story takes place in the state of fools. See, in the beginning, it is believed that fools are so dangerous that only very wise people can manage them. Who are the fools in this story? What happens to them? These are the questions which we have to find out. The story begins in the kingdom of fools. Both the king and the minister were idiots. Idiots means fools. They did not want to run things like other kings. So they decided to change night into day and day into night. They ordered that everyone should be awake at night, till their fields, and run their business only after dark, and go to bed as soon as the sun came up. Means the people slept during the day and worked during the night. It means in the kingdom all the things were going opposite. Generally, people work during day and sleep during night. But in the kingdom of fools, everything was opposite. Anyone who disobeyed would be punished with death. The people did as they were told for fear of death. The king and the minister were delighted at the success of their project. One day, a guru and his disciple, disciple is follower. In Hindi, you can say chela, arrived in the city. It was a beautiful city. It was broad daylight, but there was no one about. Everyone was asleep. Not a mouse stirring. Stirring means active or moving. Even the cattle had been taught to sleep by day. The two strangers, who were the two strangers, Guru and his disciple, were amazed by what they saw around them and wandered around town till evening. When suddenly the whole town woke up and went about its nightly business. The two men were hungry. Who were hungry? The Guru and his disciple. Now that the shops were open, they went to buy some groceries. Groceries means things of daily use. To their astonishment, they found that everything cost the same. This was the second surprise in the kingdom. Everything cost the same. A single dudu. Dudu is the money of the country. A single dudu, whether they bought a measure of rice or a bunch of bananas, it cost a dudu. In your country, the money is called rupees. In America, it is called dollar. So, in the country of fools, in the kingdom of fools, the money was called dudu. The Guru and his disciple were delighted. They were happy because the things were very cheap and all the things have the same cost. They had never heard of anything like this. They could buy all the food they wanted for a rupee. When they had cooked and eaten, the Guru realized that this was a kingdom of fools and it would not be a good idea for them to stay there. The Guru said, "This is no place for us. Let us go," he said to his disciple. But the disciple did not want to leave the place. Everything was cheap here. All he wanted was good, cheap food. The Guru said, "They are all fools. This would not last very long, and you cannot tell what they will do to you next." But the disciple would not listen to the Guru's wisdom. He wanted to stay. The Guru finally gave up and said, "Do what you want. I am going," and left. The disciple stayed on, ate his fill every day, bananas and ghee and rice and wheat, and grew fat like a street side sacred bull. So I think Guru left the kingdom, but his disciple stayed in the kingdom. After some time, he became very fat, like a bull. One bright day, a thief broke into a rich merchant's house. He had made a hole in the wall and sneaked in. Sneaked in means entered secretly. And as he was carrying out his loot, the wall of the old house, collapsed on his head and killed him on the spot. I think you understand. The thief died because the old wall collapsed on his body. His brother ran to the king and complained, Your Highness, the word highness is used for the king or the judges. When my brother was pursuing his ancient trade, pursuing means doing, ancient means very old, trade means business. What was the ancient trade of the person? That is looting others. A wall fell on him. His brother said to the king, the thief's brother told to the king, a wall fell on him and killed him. This merchant is to blame. He should have built a strong wall. You must punish the wrongdoer and compensate the family for this injustice. Dear children, generally, if a thief dies in his act, doing wrong work or thieving, he, nothing happens. But here you see the things, how the things are going opposite. The thief was doing lawless work, wrong work, bad work. When he died, his brother went to the king and demanded for justice. That the wall was very weak. It fell, it collapsed on his brother and killed him. So in the kingdom of fools, such act was thought injustice. The king said, Justice will be done. Don't worry. And at once summoned the owner of the house. Summoned means called. When the merchant arrived, the king questioned him, What is your name? Such and such, your highness. He told his name. The merchant told the name. Such and such, your highness. Were you at home when the dead man burgled your house? Burgled means entered to steal. Who was the dead man? The dead man was the thief. The king asked to the merchant, Were you at home when the dead man burgled your house? Yes, my lord. He broke in, and the wall was weak. It fell on him. The accused pleads guilty. Accused means culprit. Pleads means requests. Your wall killed this man's brother. You have murdered a man. We have to punish you. Lord, said the helpless merchant, I did not put up the wall. It is really the fault of the man who built the wall. He did not build it right. You should punish him. Who is that? The king asked. My lord, this wall was built in my father's time. I know the man. He is an old man now. He lives nearby. The king sent out messengers to bring in the bricklayer. Bricklayer means one who lays bricks, or you can say him mason, Mason, who had built the wall. They brought him tied hand and foot. You there, did you build this man's wall in his father's time? Yes, my lord, I did. What kind of a wall is this that you built? It has fallen on a poor man and killed him. Do you remember who was the poor man? The poor man was the thief. You have murdered him. We have to punish you by death. Before the king could order the execution, execution is hanging to death. The poor bricklayer pleaded, please listen to me before you give your orders. It is true, I built this wall and it was no good. But that was because my mind was not on it. I remember very well a dancing girl who was going up and down that street all day with her anklets jingling. Anklets is a jewelry which was jingling. Uh, Anklets means ornaments worn around ankles. Jingling means this is a kind of sound. And I could not keep my eyes or my mind on the wall I was building. You must get that dancing girl. I know where she lives. The bricklayer told this fact to the king. You are right. The case deepens. Depends means become more serious. We must look into it. It is not easy to judge such complicated case. Complicated is complex, jatil. Let us get that dancer wherever she is. The dancing girl, now an old woman, came trembling to the court. Did you walk up and down that street many years ago? While the poor man was building a wall, did you see him? Yes, my lord, I remember it very well. So, you did walk up and down with your ankles jingling. You were young and you distracted him. Distracted means to stop somebody from concentrating. So he built a bad wall. It has fallen on a poor burglar and killed him. You have killed an innocent man. You can see the king is telling to the burglar, an innocent man. Remember this word, how foolish the king was. You will have to be punished. She thought for a minute and said, my lord, wait, I know now why I was walking up and down that street. I had given some gold to the goldsmith to make some jewelry for me. He was a lazy scoundrel. Who was lazy scoundrel? The goldsmith. A scoundrel means an evil person, rogue. He made so many excuses, said he would give it now and he would give it then, and so on all day. He made me walk up and down to his house a dozen times. That was when this bricklayer saw me. It is not my fault, my lord, it is the damned goldsmith's fault. Damned means an abuse. Poor thing. She is absolutely right, thought the king, weighing the evidence. Evidence is proof. We have got the real culprit at last. Get the goldsmith, wherever he is hiding at once. The king's bailiffs searched. Bailiffs means officers. Searched for the goldsmith, who was hiding in a corner of his shop. When he heard the accusation, accusation means blame, against him, he had his own story to tell. My lord, he said, I am a poor goldsmith. It is true, I made this dancer come many times to my door. I gave her excuses because I could not finish making her jewelry before I finished the rich merchant's orders. They had a wedding coming and they would not wait. You know how impatient rich men are. Impatient means intolerant. Who is this rich merchant who kept you from finishing this poor woman's jewelry? made her walk up and down, which distracted this bricklayer, which made a mess of his wall. Mess means confusion or disorder, which has now fallen on an innocent man and killed him. Can you name him? The goldsmith named the merchant, and he was none other than the original owner of the house. Original means real owner of the house, whose wall had fallen. Now justice had come full circle, thought the king back to the merchant, when he was rudely summoned back to the court. He arrived crying, "It was not me, but my father who ordered the jewelry. He is dead. I am innocent." But the king consulted his minister and ruled decisively. Decisively means deciding. "It is true, your father is the true murderer. He is dead, but somebody must be punished in this place. You have inherited everything from that criminal father of yours, his riches as well as his sins. I knew at once, even when I first set eyes on you, that you were at the root of this horrible crime. So you must die." And he ordered a new stake to be made ready for the execution. At the, as the servants sharpened to the stake and got it ready for the final impaling of the criminal. Here, impaling is hanging of the criminal. It occurred to the minister that the rich merchant was somehow too thin to be properly executed on the stake. He appealed to the king's common sense. The king too worried about it. "What shall we do?" he said, when suddenly it struck him that all they needed to do was to find a man fat enough to fit the stake. Stake means hanging. The servants were immediately sent all over the town looking for a man who would fit the stake, means hanging, and their eyes fell on the disciple who had fattened himself for months on bananas and rice and wheat and ghee. "What have I done wrong? I am innocent. I am a sannyasi," he cried. "That may be true, but it is the royal decree." Decree means order. Royal decree. that we should find a man fat enough to fit the stake, they said, and carried him to the place of execution, place of punishment. He remembered his wise Guru's words. This is a city of fools. You don't know what they will do next. While he was waiting for death, he prayed to his Guru in his heart, asking him to hear his cry. Wherever he was, the Guru saw everything in a vision. He had magic powers. He could see far and he could see the future as he could see the present and the past. He arrived at once to save his disciple who had got himself into such a scrape through love of food. Scrape means difficulty through love of food. As soon as he arrived, he scolded the disciple and told him something in a whisper. Then he went to the king and addressed him, O wisest of kings, who is greater, the Guru or the disciple? Of course, the Guru, no doubt about it. Why do you ask? Then put me to the stake first. Put my disciple to death after me. When the disciple heard this, he understood and began to clamor. Clamor means to make a noise. Me first. You brought me here first. Put me to death first, not him. The Guru and the disciple now got into a fight about who should go first. Go first means who will be punished. The king was puzzled by this behavior. He asked the Guru, Why do you want to die? Who chose him? Because we needed a fat man for the stake. You should not ask me such questions. Put me to death first, replied the Guru. Why? There is some mystery here. Mystery is something difficult to understand. As a wise man, you must make me understand. Will you promise to put me to death if I tell you? Asked the Guru. The king gave him his Solomon word. Solomon is serious word. The Guru took him aside out of the servants, ears, ears out, and whispered to him, Do you know why we want to die right now? The two of us, we have been all over the world, but we have never found a city like this or a king like you. That stake is the stake of the God of justice. It is new. It has never had a criminal on it. Whoever dies on it first will be reborn as the king of this country. And whoever goes next will be the future minister of this country. We are sick of our ascetic life. So it would be nice to enjoy ourselves as king and minister for a while. Now keep your word, my lord, and put us to death. My first remember. Me first remember. The king was now thrown into deep thought. He did not want to lose the kingdom to someone else in the next round of life. He needed time. So he ordered the execution postponed to the next day and talked in secret with his minister. It is not right for us to give over the kingdom to others in the next life. Let us go on the stake ourselves and we will be reborn as king and minister again. Holy men, do not tell lies, he said, and the minister agreed. So he told the executioners, we will send the criminals tonight. When the first man comes to you, put him to death first. Then do the same to the second man. Those are my orders. Don't make any mistake. That night the king and his minister went secretly to the prison, released the Guru and the disciple, disguised themselves as the two, and as arranged beforehand, we loyal servants were taken to the stake and promptly executed. When the bodies were taken down to be thrown to crows and vultures, the people panicked. Panicked means troubled or afraid. They saw before them the dead bodies of the king and the minister. The city was in confusion. All night they mourned and discussed the future of the kingdom. Some people suddenly thought of the Guru and the disciple and caught up with them as they were preparing to leave town unnoticed. We people need a king and a minister, said someone. Others agreed. They begged the Guru and the disciple to be their king and their minister. It did not take many arguments to persuade the disciple, but it took longer to persuade the Guru. They finally agreed to rule the kingdom of the foolish king and the silly minister on the condition that they could change all the old laws. From then on, night, right, would again be night, and day would again be day, and you could get nothing for a do. It become like any other place. Dear children, now your duty starts. Read this lesson again and again in order to understand the lesson. I think you will do this. Thank you.